Well, I had my fun with what they call the archers and the spearmen, but now it's time to get more serious, and nothing better than the High Elf Realms Tiranoc Chariot. First, I'll just start with the normal Tiranoc Chariot, which is the one that has horses. So let's begin. Well, the first part they say is done, but I have a huge complaint about this. Compared to what they do with Warhammer, where they number things, they don't do this here. And it's, yeah, you have to be very on it. You have to know what you're doing. Which is a huge problem when it comes to me, but let's move on to the next bit. So all the parts are here. Pretty nice and decent. I had a problem with these ones. These tiny bits, it took me a while until I saw them. I probably need glasses. And it's interesting that they are put on the wheels. I say it's interesting because technically these were used in battles against other chariots to, like, I guess, destroy their wheels or something. Well, that's what I can think of. But yeah, so far so good. Let's see how it looks put together like this. I know I said earlier that there's like a problem with these because, you know, they're not telling you what to do and where to put them. They don't number stuff. But this part was very good because it has holes in it, so you know where these little things come in. Especially this one. So yeah, you know, I've said a bunch of bad things about the high elves until now, despite me loving elves in general. But this one, you know, this was a pretty good idea what they did here. Two parts of the chariot done. What's interesting is that they have this little blob over here where it comes underneath, that makes this come underneath the chariot per se. And it's pretty nice because it's telling you what to do. So I'm just gonna have to wait for them to hold on, for the glue to bond a little, and then I'll just stick them together. So far so good, looks pretty decent. I just have to put the horses on it and then I can ride it myself. Well, not really, but you get it. I've also put the eagle there. The eagle was something I should have done earlier. And I think it would be pretty nice if in the manual they would tell you the eagle comes in here. So don't do it here, but you know, whatever. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, but I think it makes more sense to just put it here and then it just shows you on the third panel that you just stick everything together. Well, these two at least. But so far so good. Now we get to one of my favorite parts. No, not the horses, but making more elves. And luckily, one of them is almost full body. You just have to put the head on and whatever he needs. Interesting aspect, it would make sense that you have two here. Because, you know, it would require two people. One to take care of the horses and one to do the fighting. Though I kind of like the Herculean pose and mythical stuff where it's just like one guy riding the chariot and also fighting at the same time. That requires a lot of strength and a lot of good coordination. But that's besides the point. Here's the body. That's besides the point. Let's just put these together. Now the two bodies are made. All that's left is just to give them the proper reins and, well, weapons. An interesting aspect about the heads is that they come with a good selection. You get your normal high elf heads. You get these heads, which I think is for the white lion add-on thing that you can make them. And then these full-fledged head. Yeah, full-fledged heads. Why not? And no, I'm not good doing these ever, because these ones have less face on them than these ones. So that's it. Now let's get the reins. So I've decided that for this guy, I'm just gonna give him bow and arrow because, yeah, you know what? Why not? Should work pretty well. But for this guy here, that's a little bit of a problem. You see, these rein hands, I have a suspicion that these are going to be a little too weighty to be held properly by a plastic glue. So I'm gonna have to find a way to make them sit in a normal position. Well, the archer is done and this guy isn't. And here's the thing. I couldn't find the proper way to put the hands on. So first of all, I decided to just glue the hands to the chariot first, and then I'll just, once this dries and it's stable, I'll just find a way to position him. It shouldn't be that hard at the end of the day, because both of these guys are going to end up in the chariot, but, you know, it's an unforeseen event. But I guess it makes sense, you can't let the horses decide where you're going. Or else they'll just be stuck in a field full of way. And you don't really want that. While the hands are getting glued together over there. A little bit of an interruption there, but it doesn't matter. While this thing is gluing together, we're gonna make the horses. And we're gonna have to put these gnarly things, which is kind of weird, and I don't really see the point of them, inside the horses. I guess it's not the worst thing that's ever been shoved in a horse, but this probably isn't that great either. So, very important disclaimer, I was just building the horses, and I realized something funny. These don't get in, these are not put in the horses, what the... Why was I so stupid? They get put here so the horse can look nice and like it has these things with the reins and stuff. Yeah, this is that was a huge mistake, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna put them in, and then I guess we'll pretty much put this thing together after. The boys are back in town, or half of the boys, they still need to have their horses there. But so far so good. I've managed to put these two together. Now they're stuck there. It's a little bit cramped, I have to say honestly, but you know, it's still pretty good. Now this will be a nightmare to paint. I just know it's going to be a nightmare to paint now that I have them there. But whatever. It's time for the horses. And here's the chariot. Very nice and so on. There are like two more things that are missing. I want to give it the spear and the banner. But to be fair, half of me really can't be bothered to do this right now. The other half is thinking, maybe. But I kind of filled all the holes this has, so, you know, I think I'll just leave it like that. I think it looks pretty proper. Hey, I like it. And at the end of the day, what's important when you're making miniatures, even despite the mistakes and cock-ups, it's to understand it. It happens. Whatever. It's important that it looks good enough, or at least to me. Not everything has to be perfection, and sometimes it is what it is. But you know what? That's a different story. If you reached this far, please remember to like, comment, subscribe because it helps the channel grow. And I'll see you in the next one.